So I want to welcome everyone. I'm Jeannie Ralston. I'm the founder of Next Tribe, and I am so excited to have Joanne McGinnis with us. Lives in Canada. I'm going to tell you a little bit about her, but she is a Scotland lover and frequent visitor. She knows so many people in Scotland, and she's going to give us the benefit of all those people she knows. So, Joanne, say hi. You're also the whiskey lassie.
Yes, I am. Hello. As you can tell from the wall of whiskey that I have behind me, that's real. That's not an imaginary or backdrop or anything. That's actually true.
That's
And yes, I'm known internationally as the Whiskey Lassie.
so Joanne for like as Joanne says, she's been doing classes and studying whiskey and doing tastings and writing about whiskey for 30 years, and she's been drinking it for about 40 years. So combined, she has some serious knowledge. She's very respected in the industry. She goes to Scotland all the time for her for tastings, for master classes, and so forth. So I met Joanne a while back, a long time ago. We haven't met in person ever, but we've talked on the phone many times, and now Zoom, because I was doing a story about women in whiskey, and I needed to use a photo, and I saw a photo of her, which I'll show you, um, and her whole moniker, the Whiskey Lassie, and I'm like, I've got to meet this woman. So then when we were Next Tribe, as a lot of you know, it does a lot of trips. We've been expanding our where we're going, how often we go on trips, and I've people have been asking about Scotland, doing something in Scotland, and Joanne came to mind of what a perfect person to help us navigate the Scotland and see the best of it. So Joanne's going to be on the trip with us, and we'll meet some of her friends, and we together, the two of us, have put together a little virtual tour so you can kind of see what we're going to be doing. We'll talk through it, and then after we go through the whole itinerary, we'll open it up to questions. But while we're going through this, if you want to write a question in the chat, or just write a note to yourself to ask a question, we'll be happy to answer everything when we get done. So I've got to share my screen, and there's going to be an awkward moment because I haven't learned how to do this smoothly. Um, and it's just a good thing that oops, wait, hold on, the wrong thing. Um, Here we go. I hope you can see this. So we can just imagine that we're all standing there. Oh, yes, you can record the meeting. And let me do this as a slideshow. Hold on. Okay, so we're focusing on the Scottish Highlands. Obviously, we start in Glasgow and then we end in Edinburgh. But but the main thing we'll be doing, we'll spend some beautiful time in the Highlands. So, and I love this picture, and I just imagine that it's Jamie from from Outlander, and it makes me really happy. So this is the picture that I found of Joanne, how many years ago, and I just love that, the whiskey and her in the background and everything. So that's how I got to know Joanne. And wait, hold on. So I'm gonna get us started, and then when we get into some of the other things, I'll let Joanne talk. But you'll be flying into Glasgow, and Joanne and I were talking about how Glasgow gets overlooked so much. Everyone goes to Edinburgh, but there's many things to see in Glasgow. And Joanne, do you want to talk about Glasgow itself, like what kind of things we'll be doing there, and why it's special and needs to be recognized?
Absolutely. A lot of people talk about Edinburgh because it's not only the capital, but it is like one of the most beautiful cities in Scotland. But Glasgow, their motto is "People make Glasgow," and there's a reason for that. It's much more, I don't want to say down to earth, but it's just a totally different vibe than Edinburgh, and it's got such culture in its people and the food, as well as just about everything makes it so much more unique than Edinburgh. And maybe it's because I'm from small town New Brunswick, where I was born and raised, but it's literally, it's just such an easygoing vibe. And it's, I don't want to say it's more cultural, but it's just got a diversity that Edinburgh doesn't necessarily have. It's not as touristy as Edinburgh, which is probably why I love it the most.
And like on all of our trips, we like to get to know women in these destinations because we feel like that really takes you, gives you another perspective on the city and gets you behind that tourist facade where more, we'll be more than tourists. I mean, we will be tourists, but we will be a little more because we're meeting some local women, and one of them is Julie Hamilton, who, how adorable does she look? I have to say. But Joanne knows her from the Glasgow Whiskey Club and Whiskey Festival, but she's been celebrated in throughout her through Glasgow. So we're probably going to have her have dinner with us on the first night, just as a real fun welcome to Scotland, and we'll get to, you know, ooh and ah of her. I'm sure she has a great accent and all that. So tell us a little bit about Julie. That what are we going to love about her?
So Julie is my official, I'll call it Glasgow ambassador, and she is the true epitome of why we call them Ouija's. So they're Glaswegians, but if they're a true Glaswegian, we call them Ouija's. And I'm going to have to remind Julie to slow down when she speaks because her accent is very, very Gaelic, not Gaelic, Gaelic. She's so Gaelic. She's funny, she's enthusiastic, and she's going to kick off our trip as far as what to kind of see. She's very familiar with the West Coast and the Highlands. And so I think you're going to get a good kick, not only out of meeting her, but spending time with her.
Fabulous. I love that. So we'll spend only one night in Glasgow, and then we'll be off to Oban or Oban. I'm not sure how to, but it is a gorgeous coastal city. I've just loved looking at all the pictures. But you, Joanne, was the one that said yes. This is a great place to go. So what do we? Well, it's known for its beauty, and I want to know that the other thing it's known for is its Cayley dances. So we will be dancing with Scottish men, right? What, tell us about this whole Oban and the dances?
So Oban is on the western part of the island, and it's the gateway to the Highlands, and it's where you really get a sense of, again, a very deep-seated culture in music, dancing, good food. It's highly known. It's the gateway to all the outer islands, and it's also, on a clear day, you could actually see Ireland, but I can't guarantee a clear day in Scotland ever. So, um, but again, the food, the people, and the town itself is just so beautiful and scenic. There's plenty there to see. There's plenty to do. It's a town, even though I've been to Scotland for 20 years, I never get bored. Oban is usually my first stop.
And we'll be staying at a hotel right on the water. So that'll be a nice little place for us to you know, hole up for a night. So we'll have one night here, and then we'll be off to from Oban. We'll be taking, we have the passenger van all set, but we'll be going to Drumnadrochit. So jo Joanne has helped me say that word. We've talked many times and I like always mess it up. But Drumnadrochit, and we're taking a back road through from Oban to Drumnadrochit. I'm going to say it many times now because I've got it down. But it, and you just say it's one of the most beautiful roads ever, right?
It absolutely is. It winds through the highlands, some of the most beautiful peaks. The highest peak will be literally driving by the highest peak called Ben Nevis. We also have an opportunity to see some of the Outlander areas where they would have filmed, as well as, do we have any Harry Potter fans? Because there's also a beautiful, yeah, there it is right there. I was going to try to say, what's the name of it? The Glenfinnan Viaduct, which is the famous Harry Potter train scene or bridge. As well as, again, like it's almost impossible when I go away somewhere. I'm not a traditional tourist where I tend to take a lot of pictures. I'm usually very, very specific of where I want to get out, but I can guarantee that when we're driving through this, that you'll be tempted to yell out, stop, 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 quite often, because the views are just phenomenal.
And did you say there was a way to kind of walk a little
Yes.
hike up to the viaduct, or more to the?
Yeah, absolutely. If we're able to find parking, because it is a very, very popular place if you're a Harry Potter fan, or I mean, if you just want to see this beautiful architecture of a bridge. We it's about I'm a Canadian, so we travel in kilometers, but it's no more than a kilometer, which would be maybe about half a mile of walking, and it's really not like a crazy walk. It's very beautiful, and when you get to it, we can spend an easy, I mean, I could spend 2 or 3 hours there because it's just so gorgeous. But it's a quick walk, and it's a nice stop to stretch our legs, and of course the scenery is just phenomenal.
And I do see here that you see little people here taking pictures right there.
Yes, that's the size. Yes.
That's the size of it all. So we then get up to Loch Ness and Urquhart Castle. Did I say that right?
Absolutely.
I'm batting 1,000. So this we'll have some time to explore the castle. We'll have a boat ride on Loch Ness. And of course it's so famous. And we'll stay at this little inn on the side, the Loch Ness Inn. And so that'll be one night there. And there'll be time for us to there'll be the way we do our trips. We always try to build in a lot of time for people to have um, to relax, to make it their own, meaning if they want to go on a walk by themselves, or they want to just enjoy being in bed longer, whatever it is that you want to do, we try to make room for that. So we're not going to be rushing all the time. While we're driving along, we will see the Scottish cows, and we won't be seeing Nessie. Unless there's just something, the stars align. Don't hold your breath for that. Tell us about the Scottish cows, because they are so gorgeous. You could just spend all day looking at them, because they're so, they're fluffy. They look like stuffed animals.
They do. They're beyond adorable, especially when you have a chance to stand almost face to face with one of them, because they really are that friendly. They're I'm going to say them like a Scottish person would, which is a Heelan Coo. Thank you, Vanessa. That's what they're called. They're called a Heelan Coo, and they're just long-haired, beautiful, fluffy, goofy, big floofs. They're giant cats. They're gorgeous, and you're probably going to see more of those than you will people in some of the cases, or in some of the places that we're going.
So we'll head up to the Speyside region, which is really the heart of, I hope I'm right, the heart of the Highland region. We will be staying at Craigellachie Hotel, which it's right here in the picture here. I wanted this picture because you could see the landscape around it, and you can get an idea of just like how dreamy that is. But Condé Nast Traveler calls it the oldest and greatest whiskey hotel in the world. And even if you don't drink whiskey, I think you'll appreciate the environment, the feel of it all. I think it.
Hey, Jeannie,
Yes.
can I teach you how to
Yes.
pronounce that hotel?
Oh, okay. Yes. Please, that's Vanessa. She's Scottish. Tell me.
It's Craigellachie.
There you go.
Okay, what did I say? I was batting 1,000. Now I messed up.
You don't say sh, you say like sh. I used to know the chef at this hotel, actually. He's retired now. It's a fabulous place.
Seriously. Oh my gosh. So you can vouch for this hotel? It's pretty nice. Craigellachie.
Beyond.
Craigellachie.
Craigellachie. Craigellachie.
It's like a hiss.
Okay, so we'll have a lot of time here for some hiking along the River Spey, which you can see is just look at the landscape, and the nice bridges, little places to just sit and spend time. So we're on this trip. There's a lot of mix of outdoor activities, nature, and more of the culture. So we have a great combination of the two. And there's actually called the Speyside Way, which is a path that reads through this area. And I just we'll be in Aberlour, and that's the main town that we'll be in, right? And so
Yes.
I wanted to show you that it's a great little town with shops and beauty all around. So tell us more about this area that Aberlour.
So Speyside is really considered the heart of, in my opinion anyways, it's the heart of what Scotland is all about. It is an area that is highly condensed in a whole bunch of different things, mostly small little villages and towns, other than a couple of larger cities. Well, I wouldn't even call them city. I'll call them towns by my definition. But it's rolling hills, it's beautiful flowers, it's the smell of whiskey in the air for me personally. I can't help it. And it's about community and people and culture, which is amazing. Again, we'll be introduced to people of the area. I have a lot of friends that live in that area. Of all the places to go in Scotland, if I couldn't go to the Orkney Islands, this is where I would spend the majority of my time, is in the Speyside region.
Oh, maybe we'll have to do Orkney Islands somewhere down the road. Okay, we'll have at least one day or part of one day where we are going to go to a distillery. We'll possibly go to Balvenie or Balvenie for the distillery, because it's one of the best tours. But you, Joanne, know the people at Aberlour.
I do.
And it's more
Yeah.
traditional there. Is that correct?
Yeah, the methodology hasn't been changed all that much. A lot of other distilleries have come to like modernized, and they have equipment and whatnot. I think the most complicated thing they have at the Aberlour distillery is a solar calculator. So everything is still pretty much done the same way it would have been done 200 to 300 years ago, which is one of the reasons. And their Scotch is absolutely phenomenal. And I don't say that because they pay me, because they don't. I say it because I really believe in that particular distillery.
Well, that's good. So we will get a real feel for the distilleries, when there's so many here. I mean, we could choose from so many, and a lot of people come and do dedicated whiskey tours where they spend a lot of time going to distilleries. We won't be doing that, but I did a tour once on the island of Isla, which is famous for its whiskey. I'm not a whiskey drinker, but when I was there, I was like, yeah, I was tasting it, because when you're there, you want to do what the Romans do, all that stuff. So we will have time in one or two distilleries, and we'll also be having lunch at Glenfiddich. And Joanne, you want to tell them about that's one of your favorite restaurants, right?
It is, which to some people who aren't in the whiskey culture, it sounds kind of bizarre that we would be going to a distillery to have a very special lunch. But the Glenfiddich experience, first of all, it's not only a reputable brand, it's also a very beautiful distillery. But their lunch menu is like Michelin worthy, and they take a whole new modern take on Scottish cuisine, which a lot of people mistake for they think we're gonna have fried foods, they think we're not gonna eat well, but we're actually going to eat extremely well during this trip, and we're hitting a lot of the restaurants that really do serve fantastic Scottish cuisine, or a good twist on Scottish cuisine.
So I got these slides mixed up. So this is just, obviously we're talking about drinking here, pints and wee drams, right? Or you say it.
Wee dram, a wee dram.
And Vanessa could probably say that better than me. So, but you also did. We did point out. So tell us so they're beautiful. That's figgy pudding on the one side. In the middle is I can't remember what that's called, but it's a raspberry cranach or something. And then tell us what's on the other side, the savory dish.
Oh my goodness. So one of the biggest things, and don't turn your nose up when I say this, but haggis. People, the minute we say haggis, people go, oh my God, no, I am not even trying haggis. Be brave, be bold, try it if we go, not if you're coming along, this is what we're going to eat at the Glenfiddich restaurant. Now, I'm going to say right now, there's plenty of other things on the beautiful menu, but this is probably the best. And I'm going to say it the way I would say it, which is haggis, tatties, and neeps you will ever have in the Highland area of Speyside. It is phenomenal. I've seen myself go 3 or 4 days in a row to just eat this particular dish at that restaurant. And I'm not exaggerating, which is the sad part.
But tell us what that is. I mean, haggis, we've all heard of, I think, or maybe people need more specifics on that. But the
Okay.
other parts.
Yeah, if any of you are vegetarian, they do have a vegetarian option that's still haggis, but it won't be made with the meat of the animal type of thing. It'll be a vegetarian or what we call a white haggis, which is good as well. It's very spicy and it's very tasty. Traditionally, when haggis was made, it was bits and pieces of animals, and I was raised on a farm. I'm not going to tell you what bits and pieces, but then it's actually cooked or steamed in the stomach lining of a sheep. Now, I'm not saying that's how they do it today, but that's how they used to do it back then. And for somebody who was raised on a farm, we ate this on a regular basis. Like we would eat this sort of food, not as elegantly served as this. And it is quite the experience to at least say, and I think we should get t-shirts. Anybody who tries it and survives it, that's what we should get is I survived haggis, tatties, and neeps. That's what we should have.
And what are the tatties? Tell us about the tatties.
Okay, so tatties is just a way my grandfather who was Scottish, my great-grandfather who was Scottish on my mom's side would say potatoes. So instead of saying potatoes, turnips, and haggis, it was haggis, tatties, and neeps. Neeps would be turnips.
So there you go. So you heard it here first. So we're gonna be seeking out restaurants have are beautiful experiences, but also have a that flavor that reflects the culture here and some tradition. So right here, this is another cool woman we're gonna meet. Her name's Ann Miller, and she is well known throughout the Highlands area and Aberlour. So can you tell us about her? And then so actually we're going to meet two group. I mean, we're going to meet them together, but Ann Miller and also some sisters Lauren and Steph Murray who own the Downs and Hotel, which is on the right there. Beautiful hotel. And so they're going to have a reception for us at the Downs Hotel, and then we'll have dinner there. But tell us about Anne and Steph and Lauren.
So, having gone to Scotland for over 20 years, I've been fortunate enough to meet a lot of people, not only in the whiskey industry, because it's not just my only passion. I'm actually a great outdoorsman. I love to hike. I've, as we say, bagged a lot of Munros in my day, which means climbed mountains that are specific in the Scotland Highlands, or I mean, in Scotland, period. But, and so I met Ann Miller actually at a conference in New York. And I was a bit of a geek because I knew who she was, but a lot of people really didn't. And she was one of the first female brand ambassadors in the whiskey industry, which, as most of you know, it's a man's, I don't want to say it's a man's drink because that's not what it is anymore. But at the time, it was still a man's drink 30 years ago. And it was made by men for men. But Anne changed the face of how women were perceived as brand ambassadors. And she has continued to do that not only in her own community, but she mentors young business women, not just in the whiskey industry. And she also is one of the few women that's been given many awards because of how wonderful she is. And again, I wish she paid me to say that, but she doesn't. That's just what I know and how I feel about Anne. The sisters, they're the next generation of young entrepreneur forward women. And they started with the Downs. And that was a family occupation or a family business. And basically when their parents retired, the girls took it over, but then they just didn't stop there. They started the 1881 as well, and they took that over. They're both young moms, they're both newly married, and they do a phenomenal job. Again, winning wonderful awards from the Scottish associations, not just in the Speyside area, but by the whole country of Scotland, because that's how phenomenal they are. Highly enthusiastic, great business minds, and they truly reach out into their own community and support local to the like to. I mean, they're phenomenal. They're phenomenal.
So we're gonna have some, like at the hotel, we'll have like a happy hour with a bunch of different women from the area, so we can kind of get a really inside feel for what it's like to live there, be part of a community like this. And that's what I love to do, because it's the stuff that you're not just driving by, doing a drive by on this stuff. You're really finding out what it's like to this culture's like, how it shows up in different generations, and hear stories about living in Scotland and growing up Scottish. So I'm really looking forward to that. And we don't know how many, we're figuring out how many people are coming, how many different women from the area, but I'm sure it'll be fun. We'll make it fun no matter what. So so there's we'll be in an area. Oh, after we leave the hotel, Craigellachie, we will go to Cairngorms National Park, and this will be a time when we're free to do. We'll have some time to do hiking and biking, and these are photos from the national park, and you can just see exquisite. And we'll and there is a place where we'll plenty of places to hike. We'll be able to rent bikes too, right, Joanne?
Yes, absolutely. There's kayaks, canoeing, falconry. If you've never tried something like having a falcon on your hand in a proper glove, there's walking trails, hiking trails, you name it. It's one of the most. I don't. Again, everything's the most beautiful. I sound like a friend of mine, but it's where I love to hike and spend time and be outdoors in nature. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's stunning. It's a stunning area.
So from there, we will go on to Edinburgh. And so we are, I was there a few years ago, so that's me, I'm being silly. But obviously, Edinburgh is just filled with great stuff. Can you just, oh, and this is our hotel in Edinburgh. It's beautiful. So that's where we'll stay. And, we'll do a mix of the castle, the Royal Mile, the things that you've heard about. And then I always love climbing Arthur's Seat. I first climbed it with Ella Sir Holder, who's on the phone here, the call today. But it's just such a perspective on the whole place. But so let's just hear a little bit about what we'll be doing in Edinburgh, and what are your favorite parts of Edinburgh, Joanne?
Believe it or not, for me, it's the Royal Mile, which is literally a mile long, and it starts at the Edinburgh Castle and goes all the way down to the Holyrood Palace, which was Queen Mary, is where the Queen Mary mother, Elizabeth II's mother, used to spend time when she would come to Scotland. And it's a phenomenal walk. I mean, I've been to Edinburgh at least 15 times, and I still haven't had a chance to really examine absolutely everything that's on the Royal Mile. It's also a place where every single museum is free entry, so you don't have to, if you want to just wander around and go to some of the most beautiful museums in Edinburgh, you have that opportunity. There's gardens, Arthur's Seat is stunning. Again, another word that I'm going to use again, stunning, as far as, and it's not an overly difficult walk. I think there's one little part that's a little steep, but then after that, everything is really easy walking. It's really nicely done. There's also fantastic ways to transport yourself to other little area. I think we're like 20 minutes away from the Roslin Chapel. If you're a big, what was the name of that famous movie? Tom Hanks was in it.
Oh, the code, the
Yeah, Da Vinci's Code. Da
Vinci
Vinci's
Code.
Code. So the Roslyn Chapel is near. There's just so much to do. There's never enough time. And I mean, I could spend 4 weeks in Edinburgh, and I'm sure I still wouldn't get to do everything that I really would love to do and see.
And the last cool woman we're going to meet on our trip is Annabelle Michael, or do Meikle? Do you say
Meikle.
Meikle? And
Yes.
she just sounds like a hoot, but she is she raises money. She's a breast cancer survivor, and she raises money for a nonprofit for those living with cancer or their families. And we haven't quite figured out what it is we're going to do, but we'll do some kind of fundraiser. You know, what we'll be doing is helping her raise money for Maggie's Edinburgh Foundation. So tell us a little bit about Annabelle.
So Annabelle is one of those women that inspired me many years ago. I was fortunate enough to present with her at a Vancouver Whiskey Festival back in 2013. I can't believe like that's how long we've known each other. And she's not only personable, but she really is in touch with I want to say the softer side of being a girl, which for me personally, in case you haven't figured it out, I'm very much a tomboy. I'm wearing my New England Patriots sweater very proudly. And so she recognized that in me at a very early stage of our friendship. And as a result, we've cemented years and years and years, even though we may not see each other for years and years and years. So Annabelle is really the people person and like the caring person. She's like a sister to me. I wish I could spend more time with her. I wish we had teleporters. But what I really love about Annabelle is she's adventurous, she's funny, and she really does have the pulse on what people are all about, which is really awesome.
Well, didn't you tell me that sometimes she does a polar plunge or something in the column of fur?
Yeah,
Oh,
that was one of the things. That was one of the things she was hoping maybe our tour would be willing to do, is do some sort of polar plunge. Now I realize we're going over in June or July, but it is Scotland, and the temperature for the water doesn't change very much from winter to summer in that area. So that could be one of the ways that we would definitely, maybe prod everybody to raise some money for Maggie's. But otherwise, she's got some great ideas. She's that one that's going to come back to us with 5 or 6 ideas, and we're going to have to go, "Ooh, let's bring that in just a little bit," because she's my adventurous. I've got a great idea, and sometimes she may talk me into it. So
well, I like that we're pretty guaranteed that it's going to be fun. That's what I like. Is she's a fun type of person.
Absolutely.
So this is this from Edinburgh. You can leave from on the 20th of June, or if you want to build in a few more days in Edinburgh, we can, or Joanne and maybe some of her friends who know everything about the area can recommend a few other things if you want to add on time. So and we can also help you with, if you want to extend your stay at the hotel, we can work with you on that. Before we get to questions, I want to introduce two people here. One is Jeannie Edmonds, who's our Chief Operating Officer, and she's done so much. I don't know if everybody's seen our new website, but she and I've really been working hard on producing that, which is more travel focused. Say hi, Jeannie.
Hi, I don't think anybody can see me, Jeannie, because we're full screen, but it's
you.
okay.
I'll stop sharing there. Sorry.
Hi, everybody. I am of Scottish heritage, so I hope that next year I'll be able to go on a Scotland trip, because this trip looks fabulous. It looks fantastic. Thank you, Jeannie.
And Joanne's I could do nothing without Joanne there. And I also want you to meet Marcy Mitchell, who's our travel manager. Can you, are you still, I thought I saw you, but you might be, I know she's caring for oh, there you are.
I'm here, and I'm here with my old pal Carrie. Her son's a freshman at the University of Edinburgh.
Oh
so
my gosh.
Call and hear what you had to say. She's going to go there in April.
Oh, how fabulous. Hi there. What's your name?
I'm Carrie.
Hi, Carrie. Well, we'll be glad to hear your report when you
yeah.
get there.
there for a semester. He just got back, or just left after Christmas break, but he loved his first semester. He loved that.
Fabulous. So Marcy's, as the travel manager, she's the one who, after you sign up, she is in touch with you and you ask if you need questions answered and so forth. She will be the one to talk to. And so I wanted everybody to be able to put a face with her name. Okay, so what kinds of questions do we have here? What is, anybody have a question? You can just unmute and ask your question, or you can raise your hand, or you can just say, that's it, I know everything now, and so I'm good to go.
I've got a question.
Yes.
Actually, a couple. I'll try
Okay.
not to. I didn't hear you mention Inverness as you were
Oh,
going.
yes, we
that's
are
still-
going through Inverness. You're right. After Drumnadrocket, we'll be going through Inverness. We'll probably have lunch in Inverness and then over to the Speyside area.
And I didn't hear you mention the shortbread factory.
Oh, yes, that's all right. You are so attentive. That's in Aberlour.
So we'll do that still.
Yes, that's
Okay.
on the yes, if people know Walker's shortbread. So that's where it's made.
Can I ask one more?
Sure.
So there's only one thing on my Scotland wish list that isn't on your plan. And I'm trying to think if there's a way that I can do it and be a part of what you're doing. And that is, I want to go to the Iona and see Iona Abbey. And I thought that maybe I could go into Glasgow a day early and use the extra day to go to, like, get me a tour to take me to Iona. In general terms, do you have any thoughts about that? And what time the evening of the first day would you all be getting together?
Well, I could say when we'll probably get the first day get together right after lunch, or mid-afternoon, because most flights get in the morning, and so people can get into the hotel and get settled. But as far as Iona Abbey, Joanna, do you have?
Well, let me tell you. So, Glasgow to Iona, the time frame, and Iona is an island, which means you'd have to travel from Glasgow to Oban, get the proper ferry, spend the amount of time you want to at the Abbey, and then get the proper ferry, come back to Oban, go back to Glasgow. So depending how well you travel, I've seen people do it in one day, but it's a crazy, crazy day. Like, you're getting up really, really early. You're hiring a personal chauffeur, basically personal transportation. You're leaving Glasgow at like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning. You're spending the majority of your time in transportation mode. And I'm just going to take a quick look for the timetable, but it's a ways, and it's too bad because Iona is like one of the most beautiful areas, and the Abbey is something you cannot miss. Like, it just can't if you're in that area. So that's a really hard one to answer. Honestly, I would say if you came over to Scotland a couple of days earlier, you might have a better chance to really live that particular dream. I highly recommend you do it if you have the time.
And we can, as much as possible, we can help. I'm sure there are, tours to, from other companies, not us, that will do like maybe a 2-day or something over there. We can help you look for that. But
I actually have people that I can put you in touch with.
oh,
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
Yeah, not
So
a problem.
we'll remember that. That's good. Okay, what else? Any other questions? I'm gonna look at our a gallery view so I can see anybody putting up their hand. Okay, there's Madeline.
Hi. I had a question about staying an extra night in Edinburgh. If I just wanted to stay at the hotel we're at, do I just email you guys ahead of that once I've decided that and bought my tickets? How would that work?
Yes, so Marcy has done that a lot for our on other trips, extending the stay. Most hotels will honor the rate. I can't say that this one will, but most hotels do. We try to work with them on that. So yes, if you decided you wanted to stay, then you'd work with Marcy on making that happen.
Terrific. Okay, thank you. Oh, and one other question.
Sure.
See that, I think you mentioned before, passenger van, who's driving the van? And like, how much time are we spending in the car each day?
Well, I did find a great transportation company with a really nice van. I'd have to dig it up, but it was referred to me that the company, and we did. I would say when we're driving, it will be mostly 3 to 4 hours, if as the maximum. We did in one version of our trip. We planned to go from Oban all the way to Speyside, but the van people were like, that's a long trip. And Joanne pointed out that we were going to be on this gorgeous road and we're going to want to stop. She's like, you have to stop. You can't just pass on through. So yeah, we try to minimize the amount of time in one day. And I don't think, Joanne, the distances aren't huge. It's not
No,
like this or anything, but
no.
some windy roads. We have to keep that into account.
Yeah. On average, we're traveling about 90 miles a day, but we will be like, I've done this enough to know that people need to get out, stretch their legs, take a look around, move a little bit, get some water, go to the bathroom, et cetera, et cetera. So what I've done in my part of the itinerary is like done that. So it's like, let's say we're leaving Glasgow, we're probably going to drive about an hour and a half, and then we're stopping somewhere. And then we're going to drive another 30 minutes and then maybe stop somewhere to look at something else or stop along the way here and there. So on average, like the full day of travel is maybe 3 to 4 hours, but it's going to be very broken up.
Is that good? Anybody else? I'm gonna go look and see gallery. So if you want to say something, raise your hand. Anybody?
Say I can't see the chat either, so.
So yeah, I just saw the chat. Vanessa. Oh, Vanessa is Scottish. So she said there is a lot of vegetarian options. That's good to know. And there's a list of allergies on most menus. Oh, more so than in the US. So that's good to know. I know one question that I expected somebody to ask about the weather. What about the? It's going to be possible rain. We have to know this. But Joanne,
well, weather, my goodness. Scotland is always interesting. I tend to go with a carry-on, but even in my carry-on, I'll have everything because it wouldn't be uncommon to get up in the morning and have what they call the Scottish mist. And then all of a sudden the sun comes out, and then all of a sudden, it gets gray and foggy, and then it'll get sunny again, and then it'll get cold, and then it'll get really warm. So you'll pretty much have 5 seasons in the first hour that we're there, especially when we're on any coastline, which I always think is hilarious. One of the things that we do have to sort of be careful about once we're in the Cairngorms is in July, they have something called midges. They're not
there in June, remember?
Oh, right. Thank God. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Apparently, well, see, I'm going again in July, mixing up my trips.
Okay, but you did
July, yes.
You warned me against that. You said we can't have the midges.
No, the midges will carry us away, and I'm not kidding. I have one picture of 2 friends and I in Orkney where we're in the car with the windows closed and you can see the midges. It's like a black cloud of
Are they
doom.
little flies? What are they?
They're somewhere between a mosquito and a horsefly. And they bite. Like they chew on you. They bite and leave marks. Like they're the vampires of bugs.
We're not going during midges season.
No, we're not. You're not.
Yeah, you'll be back there.
My cat is going to make an appearance.
Oh, hello, kitty. Okay, well, that's good to know. And you guys, if and when you sign up and we get our group together, we will send information on packing list. And what we always do before a trip is we have whatever, the group that's going, we have a meet and greet maybe a month or 3 weeks out. so we can really drill down on specifics of like, okay, you know, you get to meet everyone else who's on the trip. Plus you'll be with Joanne and me again and asking, now that everything's gotten real, I got to figure out how to pack or things like that. So, so we will have that in the future. And, we do that right now. We are, the pricing is still early bird pricing. On the 20th, it's going to go up $200. So, just, I hope you'll think about that if you're serious about it. The other thing is, remember, you might have read that we are taking a drawing. You can't see, but I have everybody's names. While we were talking, I wrote down everybody's names. I even wrote down whatever your handle was. Like there's some aren't real names. They're like MBPONZOWITT. They have a real name, but I didn't want to interrupt by saying. So I'm going to draw a name, and you'll get $200 off the already early bird price. Let's see. Oh my God, that's funny. I did get MBPONZOWIT. You see it? Hi there. What's your real name?
The real name's Mary Beth.
Hi, Mary Beth.
Hi.
Well, you have an extra $200 off if you sign up in the next week. And as I said, we're already $200 under what's going to go up. So that'd be a total.
It's meant to be.
It's meant to be, Mary Beth. And the other thing I wanted to say is I will, everybody who made it to, oh, that's so cute, who's ever's getting licked by their dogs. The other thing is that everybody who came gets extra $100 off, meaning $100 off. So that means, like, if you're a member, if people know this, if you're a member of Next Tribe, you already get $100 off with using, I'll put the code in here. Well, I don't know if everybody's a member, but I will send you the code if you're a member. And you get $100 off automatically. Then if you're attending here, we will refund you after you sign up another 100. We can't have two. I would send you a code for being here. We can't use two codes, something on our booking agent. So anyway, please, if you're interested, I'd love to see you sign up. We had 66 people sign up for this, so I know there's a lot of interest. And I expect it to fill up pretty fast now that we've had this. And I hope you got a good sense of what we're offering. I think it's quite special, and the hotels are great. The food's going to be great. We'll have Joanne will be we'll be whiskey drinkers for a week or maybe just one night, but we'll be there with the expert, the whiskey lassie. So if there's not, did I forget anything, Jeannie Edmonds?
I don't think so, unless anybody has any other questions. Someone just said it sounds fabulous, which it does sound to me. So sounds
and
wonderful.
I'm you're probably most excited because as my two sisters are on this call and they know that I love to dance. So we rearranged the whole trip so that we could be in Oban for that Kaylee.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I don't know if it's I don't know if it's funny, or I don't know. I don't need. I've never been to one, but I just saw those pictures and I'm like, that's what I want to do. I want to dance. I'm doing Scottish traditional dancing.
And look, there's a note from the Scottish woman who says she can't go this year because she'll be in Italy, but she wants to go next year.
Oh, look at Vanessa.
To her home.
Scottish. Yeah, Vanessa's going to be with us in Italy, in Umbria, for our creativity retreat. But wouldn't that be fun to have you on the next year? Because we will do this again. And actually, I mean, we'll see how, we're assuming we're going to do it again because we're assuming everybody's going to love it. I know they will, but but it's always, I hope you'll want to come on the inaugural Scotland trip, because I'll be on that, and I'm completely a goofball, for better or worse. So, and I have great sisters who already have signed up, and it's going to be fun. So I look at them right now. I'm blowing kisses to them.
So
So,
I'm gonna leave you with a finishing
Oh,
touch. I'm gonna leave you with
yes.
a thing to remember, because again, I've been going to Scotland for 20 years now. And there's two things I need you to remember. When we go there, you're just going to experience it. Just let yourself experience it. And I mean, really experience it. Do not say no to anything. If you get asked to dance in a pub by one of the locals, do it. If we put haggis in front of you, do it. This is a trip of a lifetime. And what it's going to do is it's going to fill your heart with joy. You're going to meet like-minded women. I guarantee we're going to pee in our pants laughing a few times. And when you leave Scotland, if it imprints on you even 1/10 of what it does to me when I go, you're going to do what I do, which is when I leave Scotland, I cry that I'm leaving. I really do, because it is phenomenal and a magical place. It really is.
Oh, and then I look at Vanessa, I'm like, how did you ever leave, Vanessa? But
I
yeah,
just want to know one thing. Can we meet the Golden Bachelor of Scotland?
oh yes,
Oh,
we did meet when we were in Mexico. We met the Golden Bachelor of Mexico, and he was so happy to have. We were how many of us? Like 15 of us going.
All dancing with him. Yeah, not the real Golden Bachelor. We just identified him as such. So on every trip, there must be a Golden Bachelor or Bachelorette.
Figure that out.
I'm sure you'll find one at the Kaylee.
Yes. And Mary Beth, I'm going to write you and just confirm that I have all your information, and that you and again we will after you sign up, we'll just refund that amount if you want to sign up. So we'll take care of you. And Marcy's on this call. She's taking notes too. She knows she's been on the call, and who hasn't. Just kidding. So anyway, but thanks everyone, and I hope to see you in Scotland.
Bye.
Yeah, thanks.
bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye bye. Thank you,
Bye.
Joanne. Thank you so much.